Now, 16 years for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They had to pay you, right?
Yes.
How did that process work? And does that happen with everyone who gets wrongfully convicted?
It does not. There's some states that do not have compensation. So like,
and it's a weird thing too, because like, what is enough money for throwing away 16 years of your life and spending it that way? Like, if you were, before this happened and they said, hey, you want to get paid X amount of dollars to do 16 years in prison, like, would this be enough to do 16 years?
Absolutely not.
The answer would be absolutely not.
Right, exactly. It would be no.
Or if you were to ask that prosecutor the same question, or that judge, like, how much money would it take for you to do 16 years in prison? I guarantee you it would be way more than anyone gets paid.
Right, exactly. Yeah, sure. I dare say that very few, if any, people would accept any amount of money.
Right.
I mean, I don't even think someone would accept $1 billion to do 16 years.
Right. What's money?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, it's, just to concretize a little bit more, I miss, I didn't graduate high school. I didn't go to prom, births, deaths, weddings, rites of passage, all of those things were part of the loss that I experienced. So not everybody gets compensated. So there's 12 states right now that do not get compensation.
Which states?
So one of them is Pennsylvania. So there's a coalition group called It Could Happen to You, which I'm a part of. I have a nonprofit organization, the Jeffrey Deskovic Foundation for Justice. So after 5 years of this difficulty, I eventually got compensated. In terms of what the process was, I interviewed a few different lawyers, and I ultimately settled on one law firm. They took the case on contingency, meaning they didn't get paid unless I get paid. So they filed lawsuit in state court, and they also filed one in federal court. After 5 years, the state settled with me, and then 3 of the defendants settled with me in a federal court. And then I went to trial against the polygraphists, and I won there also. So in 5 years, I got some compensation. Now, while all that difficulty time period was happening, I was also an individual advocate. So I was writing, I was speaking, I was regularly meeting with elected officials, and I was trading privacy for awareness, so doing media interviews. So I did that for about 5 years, and I wanted to be involved in freeing people, but I was only able to do that nibbling on the edges. So there were some cases where people were fighting wrongful conviction cases, and I wrote about it in the newspaper where I was a columnist at. Or sometimes the lawyers would say, "Look, will you come to court so the judges can see you for whatever visual effect that'll have? Maybe if they see you're there supporting my client, they'll pay just a little bit more attention to this one. They'll pay, instead of the normal rubber stamp denying." So I would do that, and I would, similar to that, I would let them put my name in like a press release to get more media attention than would otherwise be the case. And sometimes I would help pack the court, encourage other people to show up, just so the judge would see, hey, people are watching this one. It's a little bit harder to sweep it under the rug. But all that stuff is kind of like nibbling on the edges. So when I was compensated, I wanted to go to the next level, and so I took some of the money.
How hard? How long did the fight take? Like, was it actually? Did you have to fight for it?
Yeah, I had to fight for it. Sure, it took 5 years before I got anything. Yes, I had to.
And who were you going against? Who?
Yes. All right. So in the compensation case in the state, that was going against the Attorney General represents the state in that.
Okay.
And in the federal lawsuit, here's what I was going against. It was City of Peekskill, because it was their police officers who helped coerce the confession out of me and didn't document the witness interviews. And then it was also Westchester County, because it was their medical examiner who did the fraud. Mm-hmm. It was Westchester County Legal Aid for deficient representation. And then it was also Putnam County, because it was their polygraphist. So I settled with the 3 of them. And in the federal lawsuit, I considered the polygraphist, Daniel Stevens, to be one of the worst of the lot, because until he stepped in, the Peekskill police were not able to coerce the confession out of me. And if they never did, then the fraud by the medical examiner wouldn't have happened, the prosecutorial misconduct wouldn't have happened, and I would have never then been a file on the public defender's caseload for him to. So I consider him to be the worst of the lot. So I went to trial against him. And I won. So that took an additional 3 years. So all told,
against him as an individual.
Well,
Was
No,
he actually
just-
was he present or was it?
No, he was present. No, he was present. So I sued him as well as the individual cops, all the
Okay.
people as an individual, but also the municipalities that
Exactly.
they worked for.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and at the end of the day, that's only really style points.
Did these guys?
You can keep this up just for so long
Right.
that you're suing them individually. In reality, at the end, when I went to it was time of the jury to deliberate. You have to drop them individually and just keep going against the municipality, because the danger is that if the jury holds them responsible individually, but not the municipality that they're working for, they're not. They don't have money. They don't have money.
Right.
Okay, so I did win a jury verdict against him. So I took $1.5 million from that, and I started Jeffrey Deskovic Foundation for Justice, which had the mission of freeing. I wanted to continue the education and policy work, but I wanted to be able to try to free people. I want to stop nibbling on the edges. Let's just do this directly. So, I had like in-house like attorney, investigator, paralegal.
You only got $1.5
office
million?
manager. No. I said I committed $1.5 million. I didn't get $1 million. I got a lot more than that.
How much did you get?
Yeah. So
total.
I'll explain. So it was paid.
I know you have to pay lawyers.
Yes. Okay. So between the state and the federal, there was about like $24 million paid.
Total.
Okay, total.
Obviously,
right.
when it all shakes out, it's going to be less.
It's going to be less. So in reality, as a plaintiff, you keep 55 to 60%, because the lawyers get a third. You have to pay the expenses and everything.
Right.
So so from that money, I took $1.5 million from that to start the organization.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Because this is a way of reaching back to get free people similar.
Jesus Christ, man, it's crazy to think that. I mean, you have to look at it both ways. Like, it's unfortunate you had to go through everything that you did, and it's a nightmare what you had to go through at such a young age. But the fact that even though that wasn't nearly enough, you should have got 1,000 times more than that. It's something, and it gave you kind of like a springboard to get into where you're at now.
100%. Yes. Yeah. It really did. While I was doing that advocacy work, I told you I got the scholarship, and I got the bachelor's, and then I got the master's degree from John Jay College. My thesis is written on wrongful conviction cause and reform. Started the foundation, and in total, we've gotten 11 people home that were wrongfully imprisoned. Helped pass 3 laws aimed at preventing wrongful conviction. I'm an advisory board member of the coalition group It Could Happen to You, and we passed another 6 laws, 5 of them in New York. We passed one in Pennsylvania, so we're doing work now in New York, PA, California. I'd like to get into that for a second in a minute. But at some point, I became not satisfied with sitting in the front row of the courtroom. I wanted to be able to sit at the defense table. I wanted to be able to represent some of the clients, make some of the arguments, and hence going to law school. And as we sit here, I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for the last couple of years.